Hello, welcome back to the garden. So today's main mission is to rotivate beds 3 and 4 so that I can then plant potatoes in bed number 3. Before I get stuck into that though, I'll give you a little rundown on what else is going on. Bed number 1, wheat, and you can see the wheat is actually doing, well, I think it's doing pretty well. Obviously I've never grown wheat before. This is 5 weeks in from planting. It's competing pretty well with the ryegrass that's in there with it as well. Now I will go over this with a hoe in between the rows. The idea is that once it gets properly established, it will shade out everything else. Like I say, I will go over it with a hoe and just give it a bit more of a fighting chance. Overall though, I think the wheat is looking pretty good. Bed number 2, you can see, is greening up pretty quickly. This was red clover, is the only thing I planted here. And of course we do have some ryegrass in there left over from previously. That's making a comeback as well, which is fine. That's fine in this bed. Not worried about that at all. As for the other 2 beds, I'm just interested I've not had a close look at these 2. I'm just interested to see if there's any sign of any of the pernicious weeds, the really nasty stuff, coming back. So that would be bindweed or comfrey, and I can't see any sign of it. I can't see any sign of bindweed at all, which is fantastic. It's possibly a bit early for it, I can't really remember. Pretty much all I can see is more more ryegrass. So this will be rotivated, this bed will be rotivated, and that'll be it for the rotivation. For planting the potatoes, I'm going to come in with the grade. Well, you'll see all this when I do it, but we're nearly done with the tractor work. I'll have a quick look at the new polytunnel as well. Not an awful lot going on in here. This is mainly stuff that's going to be planted out once it's established itself, except for the tomatoes and the chilies and things. This is tomatoes. This is supposed to be chilies. I've got one pepper, one bell pepper plant. So I'm hoping for a bit more action there really. This is rocket. It's gone crazy already. Leek. The first of the pumpkins are poking through. These 2 only popped out this morning. Cauliflower and aubergine, one lonely aubergine. The other brassicas are romping away as they always do. And then over here, these are onions. So first time I've tried growing onion from seed. Yeah. Looking pretty good actually. And here's the rest of the squash. So it's courgettes in these 3 and mostly butternut squash. Nothing. Those seeds are a couple of years old, so they may not actually do anything, but it's early enough that if they are a failure, I've got time to replant with others. So that's it for the polytunnel. Not terribly exciting, but it's early days obviously. If I do wheat again, I might make a push hoe for this job. That's probably the easiest way of doing it I can think of. It wasn't too bad actually. The most effective technique I came up with was sliding the hoe along with the blade just under the ground, which causes the exact action of a push hoe. That's the first time I've had to do any kind of, well, anything to this since planting it. Possibly that's it. If the wheat gets big enough, it'll just shade out everything, but well, we shall see. Bit of exercise. Main crop, earlies. I didn't plan to have two main crops. I was intending to get early and main crop. Ended up with two main crops. So about a week ago I went to the local garden centre and got some earlies. I've just gone with traditional bog standard types. We've got Desirees, Maris Pipers and Epicure. That's the earlies. Oh, while I was at the garden centre I got some herbs. Years ago I read some advice in a gardening book saying that you should keep your herbs as close to the kitchen as possible, which is what I've done. So there's the kitchen, and here's the herbs. Just for convenience, if they're right to hand you're more likely to use them, more like anything I guess. So I've got all the usual suspects. Rosemary, what's this, coriander, oregano, chives and a token strawberry at the end. A few flowers too, because even boys can have pretty things. And in the corner is a mystery tree that my mum gave me. I've no idea what this is, but it looks possibly like some kind of acer now the leaves are coming out. Anyway, we'll find out. It's also quite pretty. But when I came to plant that wheat, by far the worst part of the job was laying out the rows. Not the physical work of it, but just messing about with bits of string and bamboo and trying to get all the rows in a straight line. That nearly lost my patience with that. This time around I'm going to try something here. This is the box grader. This is a landscaping tool really. From this angle you can see it's got 4 tines. These things that look like teeth that I can adjust the height on, and my plan is not necessarily to dig, I don't necessarily think they'll dig trenches, but if I drop a couple of these down and I manage to drive in a straight line, which I can do because of the planks down there, I will at least have the trenches marked out. If this works, next year I'll build something on there like you have in an actual potato planting attachment. So what would it look like? It'd look like that. That would properly make the right kind of furrow. That's the word I'm looking for, not a trench, furrow. I was just reading in one of my books that potatoes should be planted roughly a foot apart in the row, and then the rows themselves 2 foot apart. These are roughly foot spacings, so if we go well, my plan for quickly laying out the lines to go by, it's not working. I'm going to try one more time with all the teeth down and with the teeth pointing backwards so that they drag rather than plough, because when they plough it just fills up again straight away, because I've just rotivated this earth and it's lovely and tilthy. That's the best I could do with a tractor in the end. You just put down all 4 of the tines, slowly go through, and I can just about make out where those tines were, and of course they have left a groove in the ground. I will make something for next growing season. They go chits up, as in the shoot is upwards. Spuds are in. I will come back and mound those up a bit more. I want them to be further under the soil than they are at the moment, but that's all I can manage today. They're in the ground, they're covered up, they'll be fine for a day or two. With the potatoes planted and everything on the go in the polytunnel, I think that's the hard work over with. The rest of the season, the rest of the growing season, is just a matter of pottering about, as I like to think of it. So just come in the garden for maybe 10 minutes an evening. The bed number 4, which has been rotivated, that's the last rotivation on that now, so I will direct sow some stuff in there, some carrots, maybe some more onions, some beetroot, that sort of thing, peas and beans. Like I said before, in the other half of bed 3, that will be where all the squash goes, so the butternut squash, the pumpkins and the courgettes, that'll all go in there once they've matured a bit in the polytunnel. So far at least, growing wheat has been a success. I think though this is the easy part. I think processing the wheat, that's where we're all going to discover why people don't grow wheat on their allotments. I'm sure I'll do an update before harvest time, and I'll see you for that. Cheers for now.